One thing I do ask is if you ever come across somebody that does need help, say something. Say something to them, say something to somebody. Call me, call one of the other organizations in town and make them aware, because the person that might be suffering is probably giving up, or they probably don't know there's help or have access to help. And I think that to me is more important.
Welcome back to the Beard Bros podcast. Hope you guys are having a good day. Before we get started, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and if you got a second, please subscribe or share the video on some type of social media platform. Really does go a long way. We appreciate it. Today's guest, he's basically a hero in my eyes, at least of Roswell. His name's Enrique. He runs the Roswell Community Disaster Bus. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm the director of the Roswell Community Disaster Relief. It's a private, community-based disaster vehicle. We have two vehicles, our truck and the bus. But we're not funded by the government, by the state or city. We're community-based, community-operated, and we're here to serve the community, and that's what we're about.
How long have you been doing something like this?
Well, I started it in 2017, but really didn't push it much due to my career until last year, about the beginning of the year. So it's really launched off since then.
Okay.
I've had more time to dedicate to it. I was able to set myself up as far as my employment so that I could do this because I am a volunteer for this too. So
okay.
I get no payment, so it's all volunteer.
Okay, so you do this all voluntarily.
Yeah.
You have a full-time job, I'm assuming, outside of this?
Sure. Well, it's being affected now due to the coronavirus because I sell through Amazon, and as everybody knows, Amazon's being hit just the way businesses are. So
okay.
I'm taking a hit pretty bad, but still not going to stop. What I do, the service, because even now it's needed more than before.
No, I definitely agree, man. Another thing how'd you, what made you decide to do something, especially voluntarily? What was the first kind of thing you remember you're like, I'm going to help this person, and then did that just spring a thought of?
Well, I grew up low-income family out of Hagerman, not too far from here, from Roswell. We couldn't do anything like go to the circus, we couldn't go to the fair, we would go to flea markets, and it was a struggle. So early on I knew what it felt like to be vulnerable, and worry about, what happens if your power gets cut off, what happens if you don't have food, where you're going to go get that service. In a small community like Hagerman, you don't have very many options. So I guess that's where I learned how to be, not think about myself, but about others. But early on I started organizing things in school. I joined the Hagerman Volunteer Fire Department, and I guess that's what sparked my interest in disaster relief, because I went to various structure fires, and we did what we had to do, put the fire out. But I was wondering, you see the family crying, what are they going to do now? Mm-hmm. Who's going to come here and help them out? So I joined a few different groups, and I started seeing how they worked, and I started seeing where they didn't work, and started putting together a plan, and got my personal vehicle, stuck a disaster relief sticker on it, and asked for my friends and those people I associated with, hey, if you have canned goods, stuff that you could donate, give them to me. I'll go take them out to the homeless when it's really cold. And that's where it started. It went really slowly until I started getting known more, and people started donating more, and I needed more equipment. Trailer was the first thing, and just grew from there and to what it is today. But that was Well, now, yeah, it's going on a full year that it's been full time.
Wow.
So what kind of like assistance do you do?
Well, it started off doing structure fire relief. From structure fire relief, it was natural disasters. So I'll help anybody that's affected by inclement weather, whether you're a homeless person or you're a senior citizen who got their power cut off. We'll go out there and provide food. We'll provide, blankets. We'll provide clothing. So that's what it was like mainly. But then, as I grew and I got more supporters and I started getting sponsors, I was able to buy a disaster relief truck, which is one of the units we have now. And now we have all the equipment so we can go to full-blown disaster areas, like to a tornado, area, to flooded areas, and we can actually do some good in the communities. So we don't only do here, Roswell, we go as far as Hagerman, Lake Arthur area.
Okay.
We've gone out there to the tornado in Dexter. We've gone to that big hailstorm they had in Hagerman. Here, there's a lot of wind, so a lot of wind damage. So we'll go out with the seniors, and if their roof ripped off because of the wind or a tree came over and blocked off their driveway, we'll go with the chainsaw, chop it up, and go throw it in a dump for them. So that's what it's been lately. Until the COVID-19 happened, so then we had to incorporate a new team, which has to deal with the pandemic itself. So that's the newest service that we have. But other than that, so our truck does disaster relief, and then our bus is a mobile relief pantry. So it's like a little store on wheels. It has everything.
Oh, sure.
In their hygiene, food. I mean, anything we can use, and we give it out for free to the community. So just about every night the bus goes out, different parts in town, parks, and people go up either to donate items or to pick up items because they need them.
Is there like a limit of what you could get? Like, say he wanted to go pick something up and he needed food.
Yeah, so we do have, since this is emergency relief, we try to provide enough service for each person to kind of hold you off for about 3 or 4 days. We're not a permanent solution to everything. We're just relief. We're there to give you that peace of mind. That if something happened, I can buy you 3 to 4 days so you can get on the phone, call family, friends, do what you need to. And not have to worry about I have food and then try to do that at the same time.
Yeah.
Like in structure fires, first thing we do, I'll go out right after the fire, give the family a hotel voucher, give them items based on their need for the night. If they have a baby, give them formula diapers, send them to the hotel. Next day, go by the hotel, and then sit down and find out, more in depth, what it is that they're needing for each person.
Okay.
And then refer them over to other resources so they can get more help.
Oh, okay. Like, what parts of town do you go to, like, set up to have people donate and also pick up? Like, is there certain areas you do?
Well, you know what? Until about a couple days ago, there were certain areas. We were limited to where we can go because, if you're gonna sit in a bus for 4 hours and you got volunteers of all ages, we didn't have access to a restroom. So we'd have to park by gas stations, so there were a lot of areas that are harder hit by poverty that we can't go to because there's no gas stations or any stores we can go to. But a couple of days ago we finished installing a restroom in the bus, so now I can park wherever I want with that bus and be able to provide more service to broader areas.
Okay.
So at this point, we had never set up an exact route. We intended on doing northeast, south, and west, in town, but we were limited to, again, where can we park because the restroom. Now we got one, so we can park in any empty lot now. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that'll come pretty soon. The schedule, probably after the COVID-19 thing, we'll have a set up schedule so we can go out in locations. But for now, our Facebook is the best place to go to find out where the bus is going to be parked.
And on that note, like, how does one contact you? Is it through Facebook? Do you have like a hotline?
So yeah, we have a designated number. It's 575-208-4055 is our designated relief line.
Okay.
You can go through Facebook, send a message there also. Just click on the search up top, Roswell Community Disaster Relief, and we're the only ones that will pop up there.
Okay.
And once you're there, you can get our email address too. So it's preferable for you to call and leave a message, and then whenever I catch a break, I start going through all the messages and calling back.
Okay. That's good. And you guys, if you didn't get that, we'll leave all that stuff in the description. So in case you or anyone you may know needs any type of assistance, maybe not today, but in the future, I mean, put it in your phone, save it under Roswell Community Disaster Relief. And any time of an emergency, you give him a call, leave a message, and he will return your call and I'm sure provide whatever help and need that you might need. So that'll be in the description below. Just scroll down, you'll see everything. How many calls do you usually take, like, let's say, throughout a day?
Well, it just varies on the time of the year. I've hit up to 60 plus calls a day.
Oh my gosh.
Messages on Facebook, about 15 to 20 messages, and it varies from people wanting to volunteer, people looking for references, people looking to give donations, people looking for assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Just general comments, ideas. So I'm the only. I do about 95% of the work. The other 5% is volunteers throughout the community. So anybody could volunteer. If you want to go on the bus with me and help me kind of sort through things and get it going, that's where I can use the help.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets pretty overwhelming, but nothing that can't be handled. So far I've been able to keep up with the growth because the way everything's planned. For example, now with the COVID-19, a lot of our services have been dropped temporarily so that we can focus on those who are at risk, like our seniors, or infants, so we're focusing on providing a service for them right now, and then we'll jump on the rest, later. Structure fires is one thing that we haven't stopped doing yet, so if when we get a call, we'll still go out to one of those.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's crazy to see that you're putting in it sounds like a lot of time voluntarily, and is this like an everyday thing? Like, do you do it every day?
Yeah, it's every day. At least about 12 to 14 hours a day is what it takes. In actual service, face to face with people per day is about 6 hours.
Okay.
There's another 2 hours that is usually meetings with people, or picking up deliveries, donations.
Mm-hmm.
Another small percentage is we have a local relief pantry too, where we store a lot of our seasonal stuff, is going there. And then it's the time that I spend at home working on our equipment, our maintenance. Recently, that bathroom I just talked about, I did it myself. Anything that breaks on the bus, having to fix it, or install upgrades, to the bus. So I know it's a lot of time, but eventually, once it's all set in place, it will see the benefits. So we're starting to see it now. I mean, even when I got the bus, I got it right before Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving Day, we just threw a bunch of totes in the middle and threw a bunch of food, and we were serving meals for the homeless out of the bus, that quick. So the benefits, have already there, and it's just going to continue. Thanks to the support of the community, our sponsors, our, people who give the grants, individual contributions, it all goes back 100% into operations, everything that we do.
So you work 14 hours in this bus. How do you stay safe due to this COVID-19 outbreak?
For one, You see, I'm wearing the mask in here right now. There's a lot of things that I do have. So this is new to everybody. So as soon as this happened, luckily we had just gotten a $6,000 grant. The grant was meant to do upgrades on our bus and our truck, and immediately about half of that money went straight into the COVID-19 deal. Having to purchase masks, having to purchase equipment to sanitize to keep our volunteers safe, also to provide a service for the community. Sanitizing businesses, schools. We've done gas out with sprayers and sprayed retail establishments. The methadone clinic, elementary schools. So I take our safety into consideration, and the volunteers too, when they go in the bus. First things first, get your hands disinfected. You wear gloves, you wear goggles, when we're talking to people in public. And whenever we get back in the bus before they go home, making sure that we're cleaning like our goggles and getting them ready for the next group, stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's a lot of steps, and it's made it a lot more stressful because I'm just used to get in the truck, you go out, you get dirty, you go home, you take a shower. Now it's more thinking about not missing a step, making sure that you're not contaminating anything, because we're servicing at-risk people, and when we go to knock on their door, there's a procedure that we have to take for their safety and for ours too. So
Is there anyone talking to you about the proper precautions?
So I am in contact with a lot of different groups. This is new to everybody.
Right.
So on our Facebook page, I do regular updates about, what we're doing to protect, how we're disinfecting. And we're taking that same information from other organizations, because I don't think locally there's a right way to do it. I know there's a proper way to do it, and that's doing something. And today, as a matter of fact, I know there was a lot of people posting about homemade masks.
Right.
And about how to disinfect them, and some people talked about throwing them in the microwave. And there's a lot of pictures going around of, face masks on fire, or kitchens that caught on fire because they're disinfecting them because that wire is catching on fire in the microwave. So just today, I posted a video about how we disinfect our masks, and what it costs, where you can get the stuff to do it, just kind of share that information out there. And we're happy whenever we see other people doing the same, because it might be something we never thought of, and we'll try it out. And so I do get support. So I know I've gotten called by the Department of Health, the one here locally, who really great people. They've offered, when we're running low on masks, to give them a call, stuff like that. So we network with them a lot on different things, and some other organizations the same way.
Okay. No, that's good, because I think you're right, is none of us, in the entire world, as crazy as that sounds, has experienced anything like this. So I think everybody's kind of, not so much a chicken with their head cut off, but for the most part, we don't have any sense of direction about, like, what we should be doing. Like,
Sure.
There's parts of the country that are completely shut down, where you're not allowed to just go to the grocery store, but yet, like here, people are still kind of doing as they please for the most part. Has anyone that you've spoken to personally, whether it's professionally or maybe someone else you may know, that's giving you any type of advice about maybe what just the regular community civilians should be trying to do?
So what I tell everybody, even the people that I talk with, is always listen to your local government. I don't do conspiracy theories. I don't do politics. I'm not whether about our governor is a Democrat or Republican, or if she's doing this to hurt businesses or not.
Okay.
A lot of people are being affected. They're the government, and whenever they set rules in place, even though I'm not paid for by them or supported by them, I'm gonna take the law into consideration and follow some of their rules as far as social distancing, essential businesses. But whenever it comes down to proper ways to keep yourself safe, I think that's a little harder because there's a lot of things going around. I know a lot of the people higher up have said things and have changed their projections, and first it's this long, then it's this long, and just trying to juggle between that. But the only recommendation I have is just follow the rules for your local state government. Don't let politics influence your safety or the safety of others. Follow what they say. And if they lift this thing, then they're gonna lift it. If not, then we're on it together. I mean, we're not gonna get anywhere by saying, well, I don't agree with them because they're Democrats, and then go off and do your own thing, because there's a lot of us out there who are putting ourselves on the line, who are trying, and then you see a bunch of people that aren't, and it's hurtful. It makes you feel like all your efforts are in vain. You're taking all those steps, to protect the seniors, at-risk seniors, people with cancer, pregnant women, and then you got people who are out shopping for hobby items, or doing stuff that they could probably do some other time. But in general, I just think, just follow what the state says for now. What? If anything, I think it's going to bring us together. I know a lot of people are going to spend more time with their families. And I know this year for Easter, every year I barbecue. This year, I caught myself barbecuing for 16 people, and there was only 3 of us there. Which made me have some appreciation for family too, because you miss them too. So
right,
it's definitely going to be a big change. And I think as far as religion is concerned, it's not being able to go to church is another thing, but I think it's bringing people together more, because now they're doing what they can to go, even if it's in their cars. And it just shows that we can do anything. We can work through this. So
yeah, I think that's good advice. Is at least, I think what I took from that is narrowing it down to at least our own state, because as obsolete as it is, every state isn't the same when it comes to laws.
Sure.
And so narrowing it down to at least your own state laws is a very good perspective of it. So
yeah, I think that's a good perspective. Like, locally do your part, and then it'd be globally you can do your part, basically.
Yeah, everything will work itself out. And so more about what you do. Do you have? I know you said you have 2 vehicles. Is there someone running the other vehicle while you're in your van? And
well, right now it's usually just me that drives both vehicles.
Okay.
With the exception of when we're doing a parade, it's just trying to save on fuel. There's no need to have both out.
Right.
So each vehicle has been designed to do a specific task.
Okay.
So the truck can't do anything this bus can, and vice versa. So.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that's one reason I'm in the bus now, is because everything I had to do today had to do with the bus. And if we get a structure fire or we're spraying, then that would be the truck that you would have saw me in instead.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate on that? So what do you mean where one does one and one doesn't do the other? Like, what's the difference?
So the emergency relief aid bus is mainly distribution. That's basically what it is distribution. And the emergency relief truck is exactly that. It's a disaster relief. So it's the one that the workhorse, the one that can haul our utility trailers with all our equipment. Has the ability to go into disaster areas because it's 4x4. It has a winch, emergency lighting, so it can go in areas that our bus can never think of going.
Okay.
So it's just based on what's going on in the environment. You know, natural man-made disasters. It's which vehicle gets taken out.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what it is.
You said you get like 50 messages and like 60 calls. Is it hard to like prioritize all those calls and messages, man? Like,
Yeah. So I get yelled at a lot, especially on Facebook. If I see a message and it's about somebody wanting to donate like clothing, I'll look at it and put it on a list of, okay, I gotta respond to this one. You know, whether it's a day or 2 days from now. And then if it's somebody like, hey, I need food, I'm going hungry, I'm a senior, I'm too scared to go out right now because of the virus, then I'll, oh, hey, you got a number, I'll start making contact. But then the person who asked about the clothing gets that little thing that shows that I saw their post. And sometimes I'll get a comment like, it's very rude, I know you saw the post, you can at least answer back. So I get a lot of that. There's nothing I can do about it, you know. Being that the state doesn't, you know, we don't get grants from the state or from the government or the city itself, you know. All the funding comes from individual contributions, you know, local everyday people, you know, businesses. So we can't pay anybody to answer messages for me. It's a struggle to find volunteers a lot, you know. If it's a big emergency disaster, they'll jump on board and I have more than I need, but for everyday things like answering the phone or answering messages or cleaning the bus, it's a little harder to get people to, you know, sit down for 4 hours to do that, you know, so.
yeah.
So luckily, I did start working with an elementary school where every Wednesday I'll take the bus and after school they'll go in. I started off with about 12, now there's over 30 students.
Oh, wow.
They'll go in there and I'm showing them how to do maintenance on our truck, check the oil, you know, tire pressure, you know, do maintenance also on the bus, you know, organize everything. Let them do stuff on their own, you know, organize things on their own so they can learn, you know, be a little responsible.
Some real life tasks. I like that.
Yeah, so what did help out until this happened and they closed down the schools. So then I was already so used to them doing it. So now it's calling on volunteers locally. So.
Okay.
And how would one go about volunteering? Do they just message you as well and just say, hey, I want to help?
Yeah. So tell me, hey, I want to help. I'll ask you if there's any physical limitations because there are different levels of volunteering you can do. It's the heavy stuff, boots on the ground, you know, dirt, mud, gloves, and then there's the wiping down counters, doing inventory and sorting material, you know, our inventory. So.
Okay.
So anybody can volunteer, you know. If you're under 18, you do have to have parent permission though, and then there are some more restrictions. But other than that. Well, I'll accept pretty much anybody.
That's awesome. That's super cool. And they would contact you via either Facebook, email, or the phone number as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That would be cool. Definitely.
Yeah, I seen a few things that you did in the community, like the pizzas that you were giving out like a week ago, probably.
Sure.
About a week ago. That was something I popped up and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You've done multiple things I've seen on there. I'm just like, this guy's like a superhero pretty much. So I'm like.
Well, thanks. I mean, I just see it, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but I do. It's in our motto, you know, and I do talk about religion a lot. It does say that I am guided by faith, you know, so I do provide service through God and to our community. You know, that's what it is. And everything I do, if you go on the bus, for example, I can point out at every single item and tell you what business or what organization gave me that item so that I can give back out. You know, so the pizza, Domino's, the Bailey family wanted to give out, and they knew because we're going out and we know who's needing things.
Yeah.
They called me and said, "Hey, can you distribute for us? And we'll give them to you while you're out giving them. You can also offer them pizza." So that's where that came about. But yeah, I'll take help from anybody. I tend to be the one that gets a lot of everybody's leftovers and overstock,
Yeah.
which I don't mind. I'm waiting for this to be over so that way everybody that hoarded their toilet paper and hand sanitizer, can say, "Hey, we need to give it away." So if you have a guilty conscience and you did that, you can score a good one with the Lord if you donate your overstock to us. I'll take it in a heartbeat.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been, I guess, taking a little bit more than that they need, but I guess it is what it is. Did you, when you first initiated this whole project of, helping the community out, did you have to seek any type of permission or get the okay from anybody?
Well, I do have through the state we do have a tax ID, so we're
Okay.
legally registered as Rob's Community Disaster Relief, and we even have our own bank account. Other than that, I don't remember the exact time frame, but I do know there is no law. We did our research that states that you can't do something like this, especially community based. However, I thought it was only the right thing to do. I went to myself with the former person with the American Red Cross. His name was Anna Barber. We went to talk to the Office of Emergency Management and let her know of my intentions to start a disaster relief group. I showed her photos. At that point, I had discussed possibly training enough people, and getting enough people to have a CERT team, which means Community Emergency Response Team, which is, in a sense, funded by the city itself, so it belongs to the city. You're just a part of it. You can sign on. They were green. She'd been wanting to get something started for a while, so we talked about, starting it. So that was the first glimpse of anything I gave anybody. And immediately right after is whenever I started doing it, and just being transparent with people and letting them know, if you go to a Facebook page, you'll probably see about 6 to 8 posts a day about what I'm doing. I do know that there's no glory in showing people when you're feeding a hungry person. So a lot of what I do, you won't ever see.
Okay.
You won't see the gentleman that walked up to the bus today at the courthouse, who asked for something to drink, who asked for food. You won't see a video of the girl at Allsup's up there on North Side, who was wearing a face mask that she found in the trash can, and then she used because she was scared. You're not going to see a video of me giving her face masks, brand new ones like the one I'm wearing, because it's not my job to show people every single thing I do, but I do generalize a lot of what I do so people can see that, where their money's going. And, you can see the bus. So obviously y'all saw me somehow. It was probably through Facebook or word of mouth.
We actually had someone on here that had mentioned you, and we knew of you.
Yeah.
And after they mentioned who I think
Steven Johnson, Rustic Essential.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he had mentioned that we should come in contact with you. Like, he does a lot of work, and we're like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's when we started. We're like, oh wow, he's not just doing a little, he's doing a lot. And so,
Yeah, it's definitely grown. Luckily, I don't step on anybody's toes. I don't. If there's a structure fire, I'm not calling the fire department or the fire inspector like, hey, where did this happen? Who got hurt? I need an incident report number. No, I won't contact anybody.
Okay.
I'll wait for either one of the firefighters to call me. Hey, these people might need help, or for the family themselves, or somebody that posted, on Facebook, hey, look, they just lost their home. Is there any way you can help? And then we'll make contact. So I try not to burden, the fire department or the city with things, because they're not the ones that told me to start this.
Right.
So I don't think it's fair for me to automatically obligate them to cater to my needs. They got a job to do, so do I. I'm gonna let them do their job, and if they need my help, I would love to go help them, and I do. We even have things in place to help the fire department. Like we have coffee in our bus. The idea of having coffee in the bus was specifically for the fire department because on one occasion they asked when it was really cold, hey, would you guys happen to be able to pick up some coffee for us? So now we have coffee, so we show up to a structure fire and it's early in the morning and they want coffee, we can serve it, just taking care of each other, so if they ever tell me to step down, anybody, I mean, there's got to be a good reason, and it's not just me that they're gonna have to tell that to, because this thing has become a community-based thing. So you'll hear me say we a lot, and you'll see me say we on Facebook a lot. Even though I do majority of everything, it's still not just me. The bus was through sponsors and donors. That's how I got it. The equipment and the donations inside is in donations, so it's a we thing, not just a me thing.
Wow, man, it's crazy because it's like you said, no, we've never had anything like that. And I know it sounds crazy, and this is, I don't know, but you are like a superhero, man. Like, it's cool to see that somebody's willing to basically just take the time out of their own day to help everybody.
You're like a first responder basically for anything and everything.
It's a, I think that we're filling a void. So we're not exactly the only ones. I mean, the American Red Cross is a disaster relief group.
Right.
The Salvation Army has their disaster relief group. Southern Baptist has it. Team Rubicon. There's a lot, but ours has become something completely different. If you look at the scope of what we do, we're more forward facing as far as a community here. We're not multi-million-dollar nonprofit. I mean, at one point our bank account only had like $14, to operate 2 vehicles, so there was a point in time that I myself had to pay for insurance and maintenance, and I was strong-willed enough to know that good things come, when especially whenever it's something good, that it'll work out, and I kept on doing it, and now it's at a point where we finally have a budget where we're able to do things like add a restroom to the bus, and make it more efficient. We're making it solar panel powered too, so all our lighting will be run off of free energy, so that we can save on the cost of fuel. That way, if you said, hey, here's $20, that's all I have, but I want to help you for fuel, I'm going to make sure that those $20 you gave me are going to stretch as far as I can get it, and we're willing to invest in doing that, through solar panels and stuff like that. So,
man, that's crazy.
So, I'm not embarrassed about asking people for help. A lot of things in the bus were donated. Through talking to people and letting people know it's worth it. If this is your community, you have the ability to do this. If you can, cut down the price in half or donate or sponsor, you're going to make a world of difference for a lot of people. It's not going to help me out anything. It's not for me because, an example, last night I was at a grocery store and I was buying bread and bologna and stuff to make a sandwich, and somebody says, don't you have a bus that has all that stuff in there? I'm like, oh yeah. So why are you buying stuff? Because that stuff's not for me. I have the ability to purchase my own stuff. I've been blessed so far that I can go and buy a bag of bread and bologna. Why do I need to take from those that can't? And that's where I think what I do, and the volunteers, whenever they work with me, I show them that. that's the only way this is gonna work. You know, trust with the community, investment by the community. So so yeah. So if y'all ever know of anybody that can give a good deal on solar panels, you know, that's what we're looking for.
All right, and definitely keep our eyes out for that, because like you said, it's crazy that more people, I guess, don't understand what it is that you're doing, and I guess that's a real reason I wanted you on, was to clarify everything.
Sure.
Because not everybody's gonna get why you do it, how it all started, and how you are where you are now. Because like you said, yeah, it could be as simple as, yeah, I got it in the bus and I can eat it if I wanted, but I choose personally not to, because this isn't for me.
Sure.
You know, and then volunteering your time, that's self-discipline, because again, not everybody's doing that. You know, not everybody just volunteers 14 hours of their day to help people in need, even if, like you said, it's not the craziest things, but wiping down counters or counting inventory. It's not like the service is like the highest echelon. Like, it's not like saving a person's life, but in a sense it is. Making sure you have what you need in order to possibly save somebody's life.
It's like
Sure.
the butterfly effect. What he's doing is like, feed him now and he could survive, but don't feed him, he could die, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
there are a lot of stories. You know, that they're on Facebook. I share a lot. You know, I'll try without trying to disclose anybody's information, but we serviced the senior about a week and a half ago, who hadn't eaten in 2 days, and she was completely out, which means that way before that, she was already limiting what she was able to eat because she knew she was going to run out.
Mm-hmm.
And her dogs hadn't eaten for 4 days, up to the point that we met with her. So obviously we gave her more than we usually give out, and give her some references and start calling some people, say, hey, look, you need to go check up on her, and, you know, this, I know what you guys do as far as like not other organizations, to go get her more help. But there, to some people, you know, that's not like an emergency type thing, you know, like you would see a firefighter, you know, like that, like a first responder type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But then we got more severe cases where, you know, somebody's life, you know, may have been in jeopardy. We had one phone call that I received, this was during winter. Somebody said, hey, there's a lady, looks like a lady, small figure that's sleeping in garbage bags at the park behind the Civic Center. Can you go check? So my time to show up is usually between 15-20 minutes is whenever I show up from a call, because I'm usually already out in the bus. And when I arrived, the police showed up too, so I guess the person called them too. So we get off and we just look at each other, and he goes, is it you or me? Meaning, that's a dead body, then that's the police department's business. If that was somebody who was homeless, then it was mine. So I'll tell you what, you go first in case it was like a crime scene or something. And he walked up at the spotlight, and hey, he started calling out, and it moved, and he goes, oh, it's you. So I go, and it's this elderly lady with just wearing regular clothing. She dumped the trash out of the trash bin. It was about, a couple feet away from where she was at, so she can get herself inside the garbage bags to keep herself warm. And it was already in the low 30s, you know, freezing temperatures, you know, just right there at 32 degrees and below. And this was probably about 11:30 p.m. So it was going to get a lot colder that night, you know, and that's one of those cases where you're thankful, you know, to God that you got the call, because it could have ended different, you know. It could have been a call that I got like, hey, did you happen to go to the park around this time because they found a body, somebody froze to death, you know, due to exposure. You know, that's one of the calls I would hate to I'll ever get. So don't ever know the extent of what I do, but I do relief, you know, disaster relief, you know, emergency relief aid. So it's at the point where all other, all your resources are expired, you have no other option, you can always call, and I'll go and I'll get you some relief to buy you some time so that you can go find something else, So that's where I'm at with that.
And if y'all made it this far to the video, if we could get like anybody that's able to do it, volunteering, donating, helping him out a little bit with the calls. If you see something, give him a call. If we could do that, help him out. I mean, you could do anything for him really. Just volunteering pretty much would probably help him the most, and
Sure.
then donations also. So we could help him out by just doing those little things just to get him going. And if you're hoarding hand sanitizer, if you would like to give it to this gentleman, his descriptions will be down or below.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially during a time like this. I think this is what you expressed earlier, is how we come together as a community, because again, it's so abnormal how things have gotten that the best thing to do is be as one rather than segregating ourselves separately, because right now we all need one another, because we're all kind of going through this together one way or another. And so, yeah, if you guys do have, it's not got to be the most. I'm not asking for the kitchen or your whole entire pantry or whatever. Just something small it'll all add up. If one person donates one thing and then the next person donates, and then we have 100 people that donated one thing, those are 100 things that could provide for possibly 100 people, if not more. So, yeah, I think I could probably speak for everybody, at least in this sense, is I think everybody appreciates what you're doing, man.
Thanks, yeah.
And it takes a lot to step out there individually and do this all on your own,
Yeah.
It's not got to be easy, I'm sure.
It's all his time, his beliefs, and everything else, put all into one just to do this small task that can build to a bigger outcome.
It has the ability to change one's life. I mean, I personally myself, since I've started this, have become a little bit more humble with my shopping. I want to say, and I tell a lot of people. I told my brother the other day, talking about my niece and stuff, is, hey, you should have her volunteer with me. I give me a couple hours and I'll change your life. You will see some things out there that will change your life, that will stick with you. One image that sticks to myself a lot is a structure fire we went to once. It was raining and we got called by the fire department because there was an infant involved and needed to get him out of the rain. It was a total loss on the home. So showed up, it's raining, and they have an infant, a little toddler on the stroller, and it's raining. I mean, it is cold. We get in the hotel really quick, and I go to the car, and they introduce me to the grandma. So I'm talking to the grandma, sweetest lady, just typical grandma, really nice, and so I did my part, did what I had to do, felt good about it, but the part that affected me the most, that, stuck with me, was the parade. We were at the parade for the Eastern New Mexico State Fair, and we were going down. It was right off towards the beginning. And I just hear hollering, and I turn around, and it's the family. And the grandma's there. She's waving at me, and then she's like blowing me kisses. Just to see them there, I know they're okay. I know they're okay. I know whatever they went through. I don't know how much I did affected that, but the thing to see them there enjoying themselves. I'm hopeful that at least part of what I did, changed that. And, I tell volunteers, I can change your life, the way you see things. If you're stressing about things, or you're questioning your faith, or you're questioning yourself, you're questioning, who you are as a person, give me some time, go volunteer with me. I'll show you a different world. I'll show you what it's like to serve your community, and it'll energize your soul, man. I tell you, it's going to energize your soul. It's gonna make you see things differently. The way you shop. I know a lot of people who volunteered with me after a while said, "Hey, I have donations for you," and you can see the stuff they donated were stuff that they might have hoarded and then regretted it, and then they ended up donating it back, which is a good thing. So, yeah, I'll even welcome you guys one of these days.
Yeah,
Hop on the bus,
I'm like all for it, man. We've done a few things ourselves, nothing crazy, but like we've done like Thanksgiving, like feeding out the Thanksgiving dinners
Sure.
and stuff like that. So it's like we're always open to the ideas,
Sure.
especially because that's something that we're kind of on that same notion. It's not to the extremity of you, but we like our community and we represent Roswell. And you know that's what we're trying to do, and so yeah, man, I'm definitely for it. Like any way we can help as well. I think maybe off camera we could talk about it and discuss what we can do. You know, because
Sure.
I'm sure there's always something to be done, whether it's big or small. I think we're for it, and that's why we definitely wanted you on, and to show everybody else because, I mean, you have a big follow group as it is, you know. Your group is pretty strong, and I just thought people should hear it from you personally, like what you do and how you do it. And it sounds like you don't have, like you said, you weren't born into like a rich family and stuff, and so to see you grow from basically a year ago till now, it's like it's crazy to see how much it's
It's been a journey. It definitely has, and you don't see even through my Facebook live feed and up till recently videos of myself. You know, hey, here's me, whatever, or here's my name. Very rarely would you ever see that on Facebook because it's in the name community. It's not about me. It's about the community. And I've wanted it to be like that from the very beginning. There's a lot of people that I wish I could thank. There's just so many that are I consider to be angels myself, who I look up to. Not because they donate constantly, but because they're great people in general, and I feed off of of good people. And I may only have, there's only about 3,000 people on my Facebook page. Whenever you consider other groups that just start up for like the COVID-19 thing, they're like way up higher numbers. But what makes me keep going is that if I put a post on Facebook, even if it's only those 3,000 people, within an hour it's already generated over 200 something likes, quick. Which means that the supporters they're engaged, they're watching, they're listening, and I try to bring as much information as I can, at the same time. So yeah, I try to thank as many people as possible. There's just so many. I mean that bus is filled with thousands of items, and that's a lot of people that put it together like that. So. Yeah, I can never thank everybody, but like I always say, you don't donate to me, you donate through me. You donate something, it'll be my honor to distribute it on your behalf. That's the best I can do. Make sure it makes itself goes to the right person, the person who needs it. So
right. No, and I think that's the best way of putting it is you're not donating to him, you're donating through him, and he's going to provide to hopefully hundreds and thousands of people through what you've provided for him to help others. And I think that's the biggest thing is, I think that's something that I think a lot of people are kind of trying to get the grasp of these days with all this COVID-19 is it's about helping others. Especially like with the seniors and the infants. Like if you're feeling a little under weather, think about those that aren't as strong immune as yourself. Like there are so many that, it's don't risk their health. And then like even Walmart, I think, started doing the senior hour early in the morning, I think like 7 a.m. and stuff. So everybody's trying to help everybody, and I think that's the biggest take from it all is we are becoming a stronger community, at least as far as Roswell goes.
Yeah, we need to be. Luckily, I think as overwhelming as this whole pandemic is the only reason I've been able to keep up with it was because of the way it was set up from the beginning is community. You need community to get through this thing, and we, as a group, the Roswell Community Disaster Relief is community based, so we already knew. And even though we're still learning, but we're still meeting new people every day. I mean, I got to meet you guys. It was a blessing that I got to meet you guys. I never had met you guys before. To me, that's another check on my book. You know, as something that was accomplished, just to meet other people in our community who care about the community and what you guys are doing as far as putting out information is great. And trust me, I get a lot of time on the bus when I'm just sitting there between calls. I'm definitely going to go through y'all's videos and see what other stuff is going out. Because I want to know who's out there that I haven't heard about, you know.
Right.
That there's I know there's a group out of Artesia that's doing good things, Clubs in Love. I know somebody here in Roswell that doesn't get a lot of recognition but does a lot of stuff, does it volunteer, is Angel's House. You know, so there's a lot of people that are out there that aren't doing it for recognition, they're doing it for you know, other reasons, and it's not for themselves, you know, so.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is just to do it. Like, I always kind of refer back to this, like, you don't let someone borrow $20 expecting that $20 back right away. You know, like, you lend it because you're capable of lending that $20, and when it's paid back, however it's paid back, it may not even be in the $20. It could be in a different form or whatever. You know, it could be even from somebody else. You get a blessing in a different return. And I'm a strong believer of God as well, and I have my faith, and I think that's how it is you reap what you sow, and when you sow good things, you know, your harvest will grow. And so I definitely appreciate all that you're doing, and again, I think we're more honored to be able to meet you, and I think it's a bigger blessing for ourselves to be able to know you better and get to talk to you on a personal level about all the cool things. I mean, I know it's not per se funny, but it's ironic, I guess, that we consider you as a Roswell hero, and yet here you are with like a mask. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know, I get that. One of the biggest things I get, and so Nicole, if you're watching this, I'm gonna tag you on this video so you can watch this video. We had a family reunion. Okay. So I like to drink beer socially. Corona. I'll drink Corona beer. Sorry, not for the virus thing, but at family reunion, you know, I was working really hard. I was pretty stressed out, and one of the employees from the Civic Center where we had the family reunion wanted to give me a beer, and Nicole, who was one of the people who's volunteered with us, I know she needed a little bit of help, so we hired her. I told her, hey, I need somebody to babysit. Like, we rented this section of the Civic Center. We have Jolly Jump. I just need somebody to keep an eye out, so if somebody starts crying, you can call out to us. Well, she went to go, I think it was like, asked me if she can get some pizza. And when I had gotten the beer at the same time, and I went to drink it, and the look on her face, when I did it was like if I ruined her childhood. She looked at me, you can't drink beer, no, not you. Like, why not? I'm a person, you know? And she goes, no, but you're not supposed to. And it's not the first time that's happened when somebody, you know, talks to me and they say, you know, they see me at a level like I can't do bad. Yes, I can do bad, you know. I choose not to, you know. I choose not to go down the path of, you know, going at politics or bashing at people at war on Facebook and, you know, just being negative. There'll be times that, you know, my mom will say, hey, go buy a 6-pack of beer, let's drink. But I'll be in the truck or I'll be in the bus. I'll tell her, like, I can't. Like, I'm in the bus. Oh, but you're not going to be drinking. I'm like, yeah, but the thing is that the look, You know, I have sponsors, I have followers. I don't want them to see me taking a 6-pack of beer into the bus. You know, it might not be something they approve of, and I just don't want to be responsible for it. So I do watch what I do in public a lot. You know, I'm not out there partying or speed racing down Main Street because, like we talked about earlier, I do have a lot of people who follow me on Facebook they follow everything I say. So I watch what I say, I watch what I do as a leader in the community. But as a person, I like to drink beer. You know, when I get a chance, I like to barbecue. You know, I like to watch movies when I get a chance. I'm normal, so don't freak out if you ever see me at a picnic holding a Corona beer. That doesn't make me any different. You know, I'm just one of everybody here. But I play my role, just the way everybody else does. And as far as helping, I don't expect everybody to volunteer. I know just about every time I do a service, the person that I helped will say, "Hey, well, I'd like to help you back. You know, can I volunteer?" I know they're saying that because they think that they owe me something, you know, or that they need to pay me back. I'll always tell them this, and I'll tell anybody this: like, you don't need to volunteer to help me. You don't need to donate money to help me. One thing I do ask is if you ever come across somebody that does need help, say something. Say something to them, say something to somebody. Call me, you know, call one of the other organizations in town and make them aware, you know, because the person that might be suffering is probably giving up, you know, or they probably don't know there's help or have access to help. And I think that to me is more important than you helping me sort the things in the bus, is by making it known that somebody's going hungry. So
Yeah,
that's the biggest way.
Well, there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed all that. We're just gonna call him Mr. Roswell Community Disaster Relief Superhero. But on the real, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope you guys understand what exactly he is representing as far as what he does. I mean, he does it all. If you guys know anybody that is in any type of state of emergency or relief or anything like that, again, description is going to be all the information is going to be in the description below. Feel free to message, call, email. He will return your messages according to appropriate time, so please don't give him a hard time. He's a busy person doing what a lot of us aren't doing, so be patient a little bit, especially during these hardship of times. On that note, we will be ending today's episode. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and press the little notification bell. You'll get all notified when we drop videos. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
We do appreciate you. And until next time with the Beard Bros, peace.